The story of Akna and her children. An adaptation from the introductory story in the book, What Color is Your Soul? Healing the Illusion of Our Separateness by Nyambi Jaha Eccles. Read by the author. Why do they hate us so deeply? The children asked. One could answer the question in many ways. In order to tell this tale, we have to travel back to an ancient time. It is a tale of one people who became many. And in the end, it will truly be one of the greatest love stories ever told. This is the story of beloved Akna as told through the eyes of her two older siblings, Aftab the sun, Nokomis the moon, and Akna herself. Each one knows a part of the story, and together are better able to connect, understand, and relay with accuracy more of the whole. But for now, let the story begin. Akna and her siblings gathered the children around them to tell them the story of why the spirit of hatred was so often hurled against them by others of their own relations. Aftab the sun began. The All, also known as Great Spirit, decided to make children in their image and likeness. But where would these children be placed? In their infancy, they had to grow somewhere. The request was sent out all across the universe, and our sister, Akna, answered the call. Nokomis the moon continued, and Akna said, I will birth them, mold them out of me, and I will love, nurture, and sustain them, because they will indeed be my children. The All agreed, and it came to pass that in the land of afar, the All molded and shaped the children out of Akna's resources. At first, they were mere colorless, inanimate figures until the All breathed life into them, creating both male and female. The All then spoke to Akna. They will always be a part of you, sweet Akna, because they will dwell on you and with you. But how will they know me? To answer this matter, the All decided to place within each being a hidden eye, a spirit eye, right above and between each being's physical eyes. The spirit eye had many functions, but primarily it connected them back to the All. Through quieting their minds and closing their physical eyes, each could use the spirit eye to see and connect with this wondrous being. It was the most powerful way that they were able to connect with each other as well. Aftab the sun continued the story. Another gift to maintain the connection with the All was the elixir. It was a rich pigment that I helped to activate within the spirit eye. Once the powerful elixir was activated, it would flow through one's entire being. At its fullest power, it illuminated the rich, beautiful dark hue of Akna's children. Nokomis the moon added, the elixir did amazing things to these now living beings. As it coursed through their bodies, it deeply enhanced the rich color of their skin and eyes. Their hair rose in joyful coils, spiraling like antennae, reaching upward and outwards towards the universe. Aftab continued. There were many hidden gifts as well. As the elixir moved through the spirit eye, it helped the children to feel love and to truly know Akna and the All quite deeply. When they closed their eyes, everyone could see, and more importantly, they could feel the invisible connection between all living things. Aftab vowed to stay close enough to Akna to keep the elixir activated. The brighter his light shone, the stronger the elixir became. And the children had many questions. Where is the All? They asked. Everywhere, Akna replied, even within you. And why do we have bodies? The young ones asked. Akna explained, you have bodies so that you can explore, grow, create, and love. The All is a vibration, and when you close your eyes, breathe through your heart, feel the pulse and rhythm of me, and you will remember that the All and we are one. As time passed, Akna bore more and more children with the all. Each new being was unique, and no two were exactly the same. As Akna's family grew, many continued to live and to happily thrive in afar, while others explored in every direction. And why not? After all, there was nothing to fear. They explored Akna's mountains and valleys, her desert and seas. What bound them all together was the rhythm and heartbeat of their great mother. They peacefully parceled out land amongst each other and created families of their own. One day, Grimaldi, one of Akna's beloved daughters, decided to take her family and explore the far reaches of Akna. They traveled high into Akna's northeast mountains. There, the air they breathed was not quite the same. It was thinner and much lighter, and that somehow suited Grimaldi, and it seemed quite natural for her to be so high above all else. While Grimaldi was in the mountains, however, Akna had begun to change. Something happened within her. Parts of Akna's being had become extremely cold. Thick sheets of impenetrable ice covered segments of her great spherical body. The climatic shift happened so suddenly that Grimaldi and her family had no choice but to seek more secure shelter, even higher in the mountain caves. As the temperature continued to rapidly drop, Grimaldi and her family were trapped by the ice. They were isolated from the rest of Akna's children. Their rhythmic frequency, which would normally connect them to Akna's heartbeat, could not be felt because its weakened vibration was blocked by the humongous wall of ice that now separated them. Grimaldi cried out, "Mama Akna, why did this happen? Where are you? Why won't you save us?" But Akna could not respond. Akna then reflected, "This entire sphere is my body with its mountains, rivers, plants, and atmosphere. I have known many cycles. It is my process of evolution. This is how I grow and regenerate. I have always done this for billions of years. This is how I am made. It is part of my internal system. Just as one doesn't directly control the functioning of one's liver, kidneys, or other organs within the body. When the ice rose from within, it had done that before. Only before, and all of the other befores, there were no concerns. It came, and eventually it left. The only difference this time was that I had given birth, and my children were there in the mountain ice. I could not reach them, and they couldn't feel my vibration. I yearned for them. I cried for them. My spirit mourned for them, but they did not know. They didn't understand. How could they? The ice was so thick that even after the sun could not melt it. All Akna could do was to send her older sister Nokomis, the moon, to watch over Grimaldi as best she could, to at least provide a bit of light to guide her in her darkest moments. Grimaldi tried to communicate with the all while in the caves, explained Nokomis. Without the strong rays of her uncle Abtab the sun, the elixir could not be activated. Over time, the elixir hardened, calcified, and no longer flowed through her and her children. Each one's spirit eye grew dim and eventually shut, just as one closes one's physical eyes to sleep. Without the protection of the elixir, even their skin began to burn more easily under the rays of the sun. Their eyes lost the beautiful dark hue that once reflected the peace of the night sky. Their hair lost its strong texture, its natural, joyful, ascending coil. Instead, it became limp as it loosely hung downward and turned the color and texture of straw. Grimaldi and her children fell into a dull, walking, sleep-like trance. Akna's siblings continued to explain that after many thousands of years, the story of Grimaldi's heroic survival and Akna's so-called betrayal continued to be told by her descendants. They vowed to seek revenge. The disconnection and hurt burned deep into their being. Grimaldi's greatest fear was that she and her children would be erased from the family tree. When the long, cold cycle was complete, Grimaldi's children's hearts remained cold as they emerged from the mountain caves. Akna's heartbeat continued to pulsate beneath their feet, and she hoped that they would feel the sensation, remember, and then connect to the whole again. This life-pulsing vibration beneath their feet was foreign to them. Not only did they not recognize it, they didn't even know it was there. For them, Akna was simply inanimate ground that was there only to be walked upon and to serve their needs. By this time, they had no remembrance of the elixir or the spirit eyes. They simply remained closed. They could no longer see any connections between themselves and anything or anyone else. They no longer looked like the rest of Akna's children. They had become different on the outside and on the inside. Meanwhile, over thousands of years, Grimaldi's now estranged relatives evolved into various cultural groups and were keepers of portions of knowledge and wisdom about the all. These sacred secrets deepened and blossomed through the rituals, customs, and practices created by inspiration of the Great Spirit. Each group was given a portion, and only together would they possess all knowledge and wisdom. One day, Grimaldi's children found their way home, although they did not readily identify with the others. When they saw that cultures and indeed entire civilizations were built while they were isolated in the caves, their blood boiled. The hatred in their hearts grew. They felt that they had been cheated and were overcome with jealousy and rage. There were beings that were thriving and prospering while they were left abandoned and isolated. They saw themselves as being entitled to simply take what they thought they were owed. A cold callousness continued to rise in their hearts as they vowed revenge for their mother, Grimaldi. With vengeful rage, they pillaged and terrorized as many of Akna's children that they could find. The essence of the souls of Grimaldi's children could no longer guide them, as their spirit eyes remained closed, disconnecting them from the all. They enjoyed the cover of the night sky because they remembered the comfort of Nokomis the moon. So, with the moon as their only connection to any semblance of light, under the cover of the night sky was when they felt most powerful. The moon was also the only witness to who they truly were. They showed no mercy. They wanted to annihilate, and many times, and for hundreds of years, and in many places, they did just that. As they wandered about freely, they took anything they wanted because they thought it was rightfully theirs. They stole or destroyed everything: monuments, artifacts, animals, and land. They even stole the customs and histories of their estranged cousins and rewrote them, encouraging all to see life, themselves, and others as they did. Although they had now taken control by force, they saw that Akna's children could still connect deeply with Akna and the all. So they stole, renamed, and redefined many of their religious practices and rituals and used them to manipulate and dominate them. And everything affected by this suffered. Grimaldi's children vowed that the next time Akna waged war on them, they determined that they would be ready. They would have all the resources they needed and would never be unprepared again. So they strove to amass great material wealth, land, and natural resources. They spent lifetimes preparing for Akna's inevitable betrayal. That, as of the telling of this story, never actually came to be. For Akna's other children, this form of thinking was shocking, and they could not comprehend this radical way of viewing their great mother. They could not understand because they had such reverence for her. As their loving mother, they could never fathom hoarding or exploiting the things that Akna had always given so freely. Grimaldi's descendants moved across Akna with a rage that their distant relatives had never seen nor experienced. Her descendants violently spread Grimaldi's seeds all across Akna, brutally capturing and forcing their seeds into the bodies of Akna's children. "Now," began Akna, "what I'm about to say may be difficult to hear and understand, but I hope you will truly listen, see, and come to know what I'm about to say with your spirit eye wide open. Without it, you will not comprehend my words, and you may even become enraged." She then proceeded with the following words. It was a blessing and a seed of salvation for the descendants of Grimaldi to have captured some of my children because they carried the elixir very strongly within them. Grimaldi's children could not destroy it. What Grimaldi did in capturing their distant relations was to try to make them forget who they were. Within many, however, the elixir flowed so strong that it could not be destroyed. They refused to forget. But many of my children did forget, and the sickness consumed them. They saw all the power and the material wealth that Grimaldi's children had acquired and began to lust after it, and in turn admire them. As many years have passed, there have been many mixing of the seeds. Even those who look like they are pure Grimaldi still have drops of elixir within them. They just don't know it because it has not been fully activated. And many don't want to know because not only is the elixir not fully flowing, but the spirit eye is still closed. Their hearts have hardened and have turned to power and material gain at any cost, even at the expense of their own future generations. The complication is that Grimaldi in her illness has spread her sickness all across me, and a good portion of my children carry the sickness within them. The influence of her sickness has been deep and wide, and has continued to manifest itself generation after generation. This is why my children have to work to keep their spirit eyes open and their vibration high. If they don't, Grimaldi's seed that is planted within them will take over and destroy them. The children ask, Mama Akna, what if we become ill with the sickness that has taken over many of Grimaldi's children? Don't worry, she said. The elixir is strong. It will take time to heal Grimaldi's children. It has only been several thousand years. My history is billions and billions of years. So what you think is a long time is but a moment, and it is too soon to judge the final outcome. There has been much mixture of the two groups, Akna continued, some voluntary and much by force. The one thing that my children are afraid of is further mixing with Grimaldi's descendants because they don't want their children to become poisoned with the hatred that would separate them from the all. And Grimaldi's descendants are afraid of further mixing with my other children because they don't want to be erased. Wanting to keep their bloodline as pure as possible, they are afraid of disappearing altogether. That is why, even to this day, Grimaldi's children's greatest battle cry is, "We will not be erased." They fight for their purity because they are afraid that they will once again be forgotten because their spirit eyes are not open. They don't understand that even with more blood mixing, they wouldn't disappear. Although they would likely begin to look differently, they would simply evolve back into beings who were once again connected with each other, with me, the all, and everything else. They are pure evil, said one of Akna's children. No, Akna replied. The light is just buried deep within them, and they have forgotten who they are. They have undeniably done evil things, but they're not pure evil because the all is still in them. They're just blind to it. They're sleepwalking and need to wake up. What are we to do, Mama Akna? The children asked. How do we heal from such sorrow? The only thing you can do is to allow them to wake up and not allow your own spirit eye to close. Their growth feels slow because you're watching them with your physical eyes only, and you want them to suffer for all that they have done and continue to do. When you have that desire, make sure that it's not Grimaldi's seed within you that is causing you to resent them in the same way. Keep your vibration high and your spirit eye open. Leave them to the Great Spirit and all will be well. Trust. The only thing you can do is to allow them to wake up and not allow your own spirit eye to close. They are in a very deep slumber. When you're in a deep sleep, how would you like to be awakened? Asked Mama Akna. Would you like someone to throw ice water in your face? Perhaps have someone to shake you violently, hitting you while calling you names? Would you prefer to be yelled at and shamed into waking? or would you rather wake up on your own? Many of my children often like to be gently awakened by the light kisses of my brother Aftab the sun. The brighter he shines, the harder it is to remain asleep. So if you truly want them to wake up, shine brightly, my children, shine bright. They have been sleeping for a very, very long time. You don't have to do anything except shine bright and be patient as their eyes adjust to your light. Help all my dear children to remember. You help them to remember by shining your light, which will help activate the elixir within them. It is vibrating stronger than ever before because it is now needed more than ever before. It is also flowing with greater intensity through all of my children's spirits, that is, those that will allow it to do so. Many prayers have been sent out since Grimaldi's children emerged from my mountains. The prayers have been answered, and beings are coming and are already here with me from all across the universe. Some have come here to teach Grimaldi's descendants, while others are here to assist in the healing of my children who were not isolated in the mountains. Many are here to simply hold the vibration of love high. They are disguised as my children, including Grimaldi's. You won't be able to tell who they are just by looking at them. They are here doing powerful work. Help is no longer, as you say, on the way, but in fact is already here. We are still in the very beginning of the story of my children's awakening. There is so much more of the story to be written. The healing has already begun and there is much work to do. That is why I am grateful and full of joy. This is one of the greatest love stories of all time that is still being written.